Hello ladies and gents, today we are going to make penne alla vodka, and of course what you will need is penne. Okay. Next thing you will need, Parmesan tomatoes, 28 ounces. Next thing you will need, shallot or shallots, depending on the size. Now I may definitely use more than one on this one because it's the size of this one. And then we're going to be needing garlic, and I'm probably going to be using about 3 cloves out of this bulb of garlic. We will need butter. Okay, now you can use salted butter, or you can use unsalted butter. But I'm going to be using probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons, maybe 3 tablespoons, depending. Okay, a lot of the times I just eyeball my stuff out. Next thing you're going to need is crushed red pepper. Okay, you will need cream. Okay, I got a cup of cream in here right now. Not sure if I'm going to use the whole thing. I might just use half. I might use 3/4 of it. I might use the whole thing. And then we need basil and freshly, grated cheese, Parmesan cheese, that is. And we will need kosher salt. Okay. And then we will need duct tape. Only kidding. Alright, so that's the ingredients. We're going to move on to prep. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I already skinned my shallots there, and I cut off the ends already. And so what we're going to do, I'm just going to do some thin slices here. Okay, put the butt end on the side, you don't need that. And I'm just basically going to stack these here. Okay, and just give them a rough chop. By the way, I decided to use one larger shallot, and I got a couple other smaller ones right here. So, but once again, this is your preference of how much you want to use, but you have to, it's almost a must need for this particular recipe. Okay, so next one to join the party is garlic. Give that a little mash, get the skin off. And what we're going to do is just give it a rough chop. Out of the way. Alright, now I got 4 of these babies right here. Because they're not that large, they're not that small. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use, I'm gonna do about 4 of them, okay? Okay, so I got about 4 cloves of garlic right here. That's been roughly chopped. What I'm gonna do now, since they're all in one pile, I'm gonna give it a finer chop. Almost to a mince. You see what I'm saying? You don't want to overdo it. Okay, that's about what we want right there. See that? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, open this can here. Drop it in the bowl, okay? Make sure it's Parmesan tomatoes, certified peeled tomatoes, okay? Open it up, put it in the bowl, and then you just gotta crush it, okay? Now, what you can do, you can crush it to where it's all, to where it's completely smooth, or you can crush it to where you have a little bit of texture to it. Okay, first thing we're gonna do. First thing in the pan will be 2 tablespoons of butter. And like I mentioned before, if you don't want to use salted butter, you can use unsalted butter. It'll be just fine. So I get that melted through. Okay, so the butter has melted. By the way, I melted this butter on a medium heat. Make sure you don't have it too high, otherwise your butter will burn. Okay, first one to join the pool, shallots. Now we're going to cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes, and make sure you stir them, okay? If you just leave them alone, they can burn. Okay, the second thing that's going to join the party. Of course, somebody will have to call me at this time. Anyway, second one in the pan, garlic. Let that cook through for a couple of minutes. All right, the star of the show, vodka. Now, here it is. You don't want to pour the vodka while this pan is directly on the heat. Otherwise, you could probably get real hurt, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it could cinch the hair off your head. So, you don't want to flambe, okay? So you want to take it off the heat, okay? Off the heat, and drop in your vodka. Okay, I eyeballed that. That's about, well, a little bit more we need. That's about 3/4 of a cup right there. Okay, so we're going to let that simmer down just for about a minute. Okay, now I'm going to add on our tomatoes. Wow, you can smell that vodka. There's going to be something else, I tell you what. Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring this to a simmer, and what's going to happen is going to reduce, and the alcohol is going to get cooked out. I'm going to do that for about 8 to 10 minutes, okay? And then after that, we're going to add our cream. Okay, in the meantime, this pot right here is for the pasta, okay? And the water is literally up to here. You don't want it down here. You want it here. You want, because when it comes to a boil, you want that boil to do the work for you rather than you trying to stir it all day long, okay? And the pasta is sticking. So now that it's at a rapid boil, and that is at a rapid boil, that is for sure. What we're going to do, or what you need to do, is generously salt your water. So I'm going to give it a nice splash of kosher salt right here. And that's going to add the flavor to your pasta. Cover that back up. Second, get it back to a boil. And we're going to add our pasta. Okay, this is simmering away. It's getting a little thicker here. By the way, I brought it to a high so I can get to a simmer. I'm going to bring it back down to a medium. I'm going to drop in my pasta. Guess I'm using the same spoon. It's not going to hurt it. Okay. What we'll do is stir this a couple of times. And then put a lid on it. Get that back to a boil. By the way, I had that little 2-second accident there if you haven't noticed. But anyways, this is such a rapid boil. I gave it just a couple of stirs before, but actually the water, this boiling water is boiling so rapidly that you really don't have to stir it. I could just leave it alone and you can see it just going all over the place, doing its own thing. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the cream to the sauce. Little by little. I'm going to see the color that I get on here. It's looking good. Needs a little bit more. There we go. So I had a cup in here. I used exactly 3/4 of a cup. Okay, what I forgot to tell you, when you add the cream, let that cook at around, I don't know, depending on how much you have there, I would say 4 to 5 minutes, okay? well, let's put it this way, when it starts to thicken a little bit, not too thick, but just starts to thicken a little bit, okay, at that point, what you want to do is get your Parmesan cheese here, okay, and freshly grate the cheese in, and what you're going to want in there is approximately half a cup or more, okay, and if you're a cheese freak, you probably put a whole cup in here. Anyways, I am a cheese freak, but I'm not going to put a cup in here. Just enough to taste, actually. Okay, let's stir that in. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is basil. And I'm simply just going to pluck a few leaves off here. I'm not going to cut them up. I'm just simply going to rip them up and just throw them in. Just like that. There's about 3 basil leaves here to go in. We'll stir that in. Okay. Okay. Let's give this a little taste test. Okay, that's great right there, because the vodka is not lost in the sauce, and the vodka doesn't taste raw. Okay, has great balance. All the flavors are there. The only thing I'm going to add to this, okay, and this is the reason why you need to taste your food as you go, okay, is just a little bit of salt. That's what it needs right now. Just a little bit of salt, good to go. Alright, I'm going to stir that in, and then after that I'm going to taste it again. Okay, so while this has been simmering, it kind of tightened up a little bit. It was a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be. So what I'm going to do, the cure to this problem, is to use some of your pasta water. And I'll loosen it right where you want it. It's not going to hurt the flavor. It's just you're only putting it in a little bit just to loosen it up just a tiny bit. And stir that in. It's perfect. Okay. Alright, our pasta's almost done. Okay, everything's done. So now, serving. Okay, I got a small pan here, and I'm just doing this as an example for a single serving. Okay, so what we're going to do first is drop in a little bit of the sauce. Okay, let's go about 2 full scoops right there. And then we're going to grab a bunch of pasta, which has just been strained. I have to get it. Okay, so I'm going to throw in pasta al dente. Okay. Toss that through. Okay, what we're going to do, add some grated cheese, Parmesan cheese. A little bit more sauce. And give that a flip. Alright, a couple more times. Whoops, we lost a soul. Okay, the plate. Simple. We just take the pasta we just cooked in this pan here. Drop it in. Okay. And then I've got some finely chopped basil. Garnish with that. And then, yes, more dang cheese. Alright, here we go. Here. Gotta have the cheese, man. Alright. Boom. Okay, good to go. Now, one thing I did forget to tell you guys is that I did add pepper flakes when I did was starting at the first base of the butter and stuff like that. So you can add it on after. I did some before. I'm going to add on just a little bit more. Adds a nice little garnish as well. And then fancy it up just a tiny bit more. I give it a little tiny garnish right there, smack dab in the middle. All right. And that's it. Good to go. I'm off to go eat this food right here. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Hope all is well. Hope this helped you out.